My fiancé took me ring shopping, but it wasn't for me. He held my hand while we looked at rings. But the one he chose wasn't meant for me. I always thought ring shopping would be the happiest day of my life. That moment where your heart races and your fingers tremble as you try on diamonds. That moment where your future becomes really. Had dreamed of it since I was a little girl. And when Alex asked me to go ring shopping, I thought, this is it. This is my forever. Alex and I had been together for 2 years. We met through friends. He was charming, confident, a little mysterious. He said just enough to keep me interested, but not enough to give everything away. That made him exciting. Maybe too exciting. Our relationship was passionate, a little rocky at times, but I loved him so deeply it scared me. He wasn't perfect. He canceled plans, sometimes got moody without explanation, kept his phone locked, but I told myself everyone has flaws. That love meant accepting them. So when he casually mentioned one evening we should look at rings sometime, I lit up inside. I didn't scream or jump. I just smiled and said, really, are you serious? He kissed my forehead. Yeah, you deserve something special. The next weekend he took me to a fancy jewelry store downtown. It wasn't a cheap place. Glass counters, soft lights, classical music playing in the background. My heart was racing the entire time. I kept glancing at him, waiting for a sign, waiting for that one magical moment where he'd look at me like I was the only woman in the world. Instead, he looked distracted. His eyes kept darting to the exit. His phone buzzed in his jacket. He excused himself once to take a call outside. I waited inside, pretending to admire the rings. The saleswoman was polite. She kept offering to let me try pieces on. Alex came back 10 minutes later, apologizing. Work, he muttered. Then, suddenly, he got serious. Pointed to one specific ring. It wasn't the biggest, but it was elegant. A thin gold band with a single emerald cut diamond. He looked at it like he already knew it well. Like it wasn't the first time he'd seen it. Try that one, he said. I slipped it on. It fit perfectly. He stared at me for a moment, then looked away. You like it? I asked softly. He nodded. It's nice. Not, it's perfect. Not you look beautiful, just it's nice. I felt a lump in my throat, but I smiled anyway. Because that's what you do when you love someone more than they love you. The saleswoman smiled too. She wrapped up the ring and handed it to Alex in a box. He paid with cash and we walked out. He didn't let me hold the bag. He said he wanted to hide it properly, to keep the proposal a surprise. I believed him, because why wouldn't I? Even if something felt off that night. He dropped me home, didn't come up, said he was tired. I kissed him and said I love you. He mumbled you too, and drove off. He stood there, staring at the taillights disappearing into the night, and something in my chest sank. The next few days he got distant, didn't reply to texts, didn't call. Then suddenly messaged me late one night. Busy with work, I'll call you soon. I waited and waited. A week passed. Nothing, no proposal, no surprise, no ring, just silence. So I did something I never thought I would. I went to his place unannounced. He had given me a key once, back when things felt more real. I used it. His apartment was quiet, too quiet and cold, like no one had lived there for days. I walked in, called his name. No answer. I checked the bedroom, the drawers, nothing unusual until I opened the closet and saw 2 suitcases missing. I froze. Then I checked the bathroom. Half of his stuff gone. Deodorant, razor, toothbrush missing. My heart pounded. I called his number. It went to voicemail. I tried again. Same thing. That night I didn't sleep. The next morning I got a message from an unknown number. Just a photo of Alex smiling next to a woman, holding her hand. A close-up of their fingers. Her left hand wearing the emerald-cut ring, the same one I had tried on them. Same one he bought in front of me. Hand started shaking. I couldn't breathe. Was I hallucinating? I stared at the photo again. It was him, and her, someone I didn't recognize. She looked younger, softer, but it was really. Replied, who is this? No answer. Just silence. I started shaking, then screaming. I threw my phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. My entire body felt like it was on fire. He had taken me ring shopping to test the size, to see how it looked, to make sure it was perfect. Not for me, but for her. Whoever she was, I was the decoy, the stand-in, the test dummy. He used me, lied to me, and now he was gone. With her wearing the ring I helped choose. I cried for hours, days. I didn't leave my apartment, didn't eat, didn't speak to anyone. Friends called, I ignored them. I couldn't face anyone. Not yet. He kept asking myself why. What did I do wrong? Was I not enough? Was I just convenient? And then it hit me. This wasn't about me, this was about him. He was a liar, a manipulator, a coward. And suddenly, I didn't feel sad anymore. I felt angry, burning white-hot anger. How dare he humiliate me, make me look like a fool? I gave him everything, my heart, my trust, my time, and he crushed it all. But I wasn't going to stay broken. No, he owed me an explanation, and more than that, he owed me revenge, real satisfying revenge, not just words but consequences. I was going to make sure he paid slowly, carefully, brutally. I wiped my tears, stood up, and opened my laptop. I typed his full name into the search bar, and what I found was just the beginning. Asterisk. I typed his full name into the search bar, and what I found changed everything. An engagement post from her account, the girl in the photo. Her name was Lena. Her caption Said he proposed last night. I said yes, I'm the luckiest girl alive. I stared at it, feeling numb. She posted it the day after he disappeared. I scrolled through her photos. They had been together for months, dates, vacations, birthday surprises, couple selfies while I thought he was working late. He was with her, kissing her, loving her, lying to me, and the worst part, he never even told her about May. Looked at the comments. So happy for you. You two are perfect. When's the wedding? I wanted to scream. I wanted to reply, but I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I made a plan step by step. He would feel what I felt. First, I gathered everything. All our old photos, all the texts, the voice messages, proof that we were together. Then I made a fake profile, new name, new photo, new account. I followed Lena, liked a few of her old posts, and waited. She followed me back. Messaged me the next day. Hi, do we know each other? I replied. Not really, but I think we've dated the same guy. She paused, asked who I meant. I sent her a photo of Alex kissing me. Timestamp from 3 months ago. She didn't reply for hours. Then finally one word would. I told her everything. How he had taken me ring shopping, then given the ring to her. How he vanished without a word. How I found her post. How I knew she stopped replying, but I knew she read every message. The next day, Alex called me. I hadn't heard his voice in weeks. Are you crazy? He yelled. What the hell did you do? I stayed quiet, then calmly said, didn't expect her to find out, did you? He swore at me, called me insane. Said I ruined his life. I laughed. You ruined your own life. I just told the truth. He hung up later that night. Lena posted again, this time a blank black photo with one line, lies always come out. Then she deleted all her pictures with him, unfollowed him, blocked him. I watched it all unfold quietly, without a word. Just like he left me. 2 days later, Alex showed up at my door. Unshaven, exhausted, eyes red. He begged, said he was sorry, said he messed up, said he still loved May. Let him speak, let him cry. Then I looked him in the eye and said, took me ring shopping for her. Do you think I'll ever forget that? He tried to explain, said he didn't know how to end it. Said he panicked, said he never stopped loving May. Smiled and shut the door in his face. I don't want his love. I don't want his words. I want him to live with the guilt forever. Because the truth is, he didn't just break my heart. He broke my trust. He broke my hope. He broke the part of me that believed in forever. But that part is coming back stronger, wiser, sharper, and I'll never be that blind again. After I exposed him, after I shut the door in his face, I thought it was over. I thought the pain would finally stop, but it didn't. It changed shape. It got quieter, colder, more private. The nights felt longer. The silence got heavier. I no longer waited for his calls, but I still heard his voice in my head. I still remembered the way he looked at me while choosing that ring. How stupid I felt. I tried to hate him, but hate requires energy, and I was exhausted. I wanted to delete him from my memory. But memories don't work like that. They fight to stay alive. I started keeping a journal, writing down everything. I felt every lie he told, every time I ignored the red flags. I wrote about the night he came to my door, about his sad eyes, his fake tears, his quiet desperation, and how I didn't fall for it. For the first time, I felt proud of myself. One night, I got a message from an unknown number. It was a girl. She had seen my page, the one I created to expose him. She told me he had been talking to her at the same time he was with me, told her he was single, told her he was looking for something real. She thanked me, said I saved her from wasting more time. I stared at that message for a long time. It felt strange, like I was helping others while still struggling myself, but it gave me purpose, a reason to keep going. More women started messaging me. Some had short stories, some had long ones. All of them carried pain and confusion and betrayal. He had done this for years, not just to me, not just to Lena, but to many. He was a collector of hearts, of attention, of control. And I was just another name in his gallery. But not anymore. I was out free, healing. I decided to do more. I created a small online space for women to share their stories, anonymously, safely, without judgment, and they did. The group grew slowly, quietly, but powerfully. We talked about red flags, about trusting instincts, about not ignoring that gut feeling, that whisper that says something is wrong. It was therapy, but real, raw, and filtered in. It made me stronger. One day, someone posted a photo of a man she was dating, asking if anyone knew him. My heart sank. It was Alex's new name. Same face. I messaged her privately, told her everything, sent proof, screenshots, photos, his engagement post, his messages to Mesh. Was heartbroken, but grateful. She left him the next day. I didn't do it out of revenge. I did it to protect her, because I knew what it felt like to be played, to be lied to be left in the dark. That night I sat by my window, watched the rain, and smiled. For the first time in months, I felt peace, real peace, not because I got closure, but because I gave it to someone else. Because I broke the cycle, because I stopped another heartbreak. I got a call from Lena. She said thank you, said she saw everything, said she was doing better. We talked for hours. 2 women went strangers, now bonded by pain and healing. We laughed, we cried. We promised to keep going, to live better, to love smarter. It felt good. Forgive each other, to release that anger, and just be human again. Alex reached out again, this time with a long message, no begging, no blaming. Just a confession. He said he was in therapy, sighed he realized he had a pattern, said he hurt people because he was broken inside, that he never learned what love really meant. I read the whole message, then deleted it, not out of hate, but because I didn't need it. His healing is his. Mine is mine. We don't walk the same road anymore. I stopped checking his social media, stopped looking for updates, stopped wondering where he was, who he was with. If he thought about me, it didn't matter. Not anymore. I started focusing on myself. Picked up painting again, took long walks, cooked new recipes, read books, watched sunsets, talked to strangers. Smiled at myself in the mirror. I began to feel alive again. One morning, I passed by that same jewelry store, the one where he bought the ring, the one I wore first. I looked through the window at all the sparkling rings and thought, next time it'll be different. Next time it'll be honest, it'll be real. It won't start with lies or end with betrayal. It'll begin with truth, with kindness, with someone who sees me, not someone who uses me. And until that day comes, I'll keep choosing myself over and over again, because I am not a placeholder, not a test drive, not a second choice. I am the whole thing, and I deserve someone who knows that from the start. Life after Alex was different. The silence was loud, but it was peaceful. There were no more sudden goodbyes, no more lies to decode, no more waiting for someone who never came. Every morning I opened my eyes and breathed. I didn't reach for my phone. I didn't check if he had texted. I didn't hope anymore, and that was freedom. But freedom didn't come without pain. There were nights I cried, nights I screamed into my pillow, nights I asked myself, why me, why her? Why did I trust him? Why did I ignore all the signs? I kept going back to that jewelry store in my head, the memory of standing there, trying on the ring, looking at his face, feeling special, when I was never special to him. Used me, and he didn't even hide it. He used my hands to test the fit, used my dreams to build a lie. And I helped him blindly, willingly, stupidly, but I was done crying over him. So I started writing again, not just journals but blog posts. Stories, letters I'd never send to him, to myself, to the girl I used to bait. Helped. Every word made me lighter, made me braver, made me stronger. One of my blog posts went viral. It was about betrayal, about being someone's backup, about what it feels like to be chosen for the rehearsal, but not the real show. The comments poured in, thousands of women telling their stories, sharing their heartbreak, thanking me for speaking what they couldn't say, and suddenly I wasn't alone anymore. I wasn't the only one who'd been hurt, used, deceived, forgotten. There were so many of us, walking around with shattered trust and soft hearts, trying to heal. In silos, but not anymore. We were loud now, and we were listening to each other. That's when I realized something. Alex didn't break me. He revealed me. He tore down the version of me that tolerated lies, and left behind the version that demanded truth. I started speaking at small events, women's circles, podcasts, local support groups, telling my story not for attention, but for connection. Each time I spoke, I let go of a little more pain, and each time I listened, I learned how to carry someone else's pain too. Then one day I got an email from a producer. They'd read my blog, wanted to feature my story in a documentary ad. First I said no. I was scared of being seen, of being judged, of having to relive it all again. But then I remembered how I had once sat on the floor, shaking, sobbing, feeling like the dumbest woman alive, and how one message from one stranger had saved me. Maybe my voice could be that for someone else. So I said yes. The filming began a month later. They followed me through my daily life, asked questions, listened, cried with me, spoke honestly about the betrayal, the ring, the lies, the door I slammed in his face, and how I rose from all of it. They asked if I ever saw him again. I said no, but that wasn't true, because one day I did see him again, in a bookstore of all places. I was holding a book. He was walking in. We locked eyes. He froze. I didn't smile. I didn't cry. I just looked at him as if he were a stranger, because he was. He walked away fast, head down. I didn't chase him. I didn't feel anything, not love, not anger, just closure. The kind that comes without words, the kind that settles quietly in your bones, like an ending that finally understands itself. That night I went home, lit a candle, took a long bath, and forgave myself, not for falling for him, but for staying too long, for hoping too hard, for believing too much. It wasn't my fault. Loving someone isn't wrong, even if they don't deserve it. What matters is what you do after they show you who they are, and chose to walk away, to build again, to grow. The documentary aired. It reached millions. I got letters, emails, tears from strangers. One message stood out. It said I was about to say yes to someone like him. Then I saw your story. Thank you for saving me. Cried when I read that, because I knew this pain had purpose. Alex was a chapter, not the book, a moment, not the meaning, and now I was the author of my own story, one filled with truth, with strength, with real love, starting with myself. Didn't need a ring to feel whole, didn't need a man to feel worthy. All I needed was my own voice, and I had finally found it. After everything fell apart, I thought the worst part would be over. But I quickly realized that healing doesn't happen in a straight line, it happens in waves. Some days I would wake up feeling okay. Other days, I would wake up feeling like the world was still spinning out of control. I started going on long walks. I didn't have a destination, I just walked. Past the places we used to go. Past the cafes where he would hold my hand. Past the bookstore where he once said he saw our future in a novel's pages. I walked to remind myself that I could keep moving, even if my heart felt stuck. Friends started calling me more. At first, I ignored them. I didn't want to explain everything again. I didn't want to hear them say, "You're strong," or "You deserve better." I knew those things. But they didn't make me feel better. They felt like bandages on a wound too deep to see. That one friend, Sarah, showed up at my door with takeout and 2 bottles of wine. She didn't ask me anything. She just sat on the couch, turned on a dumb romantic comedy, and handed me food. For the first time in weeks I laughed. Not because the movie was funny, but because I realized someone still saw me. We talked that night, really talked. I told her everything, the ring, the shopping, the truth, his betrayal. She didn't interrupt. She didn't judge. She just held my hand when I started crying and said, "You didn't deserve that." I started journaling more. Writing became my escape. I wrote about how I used to imagine our wedding, the dress, the flowers, the guests. I had every detail in my head. I used to daydream about our future house, the dog we'd get, the names of our kids. I didn't realize I was the only one dreaming. One night I wrote a letter to him, not to send, just to get the words out. I wrote everything I never said, everything I held back. I told him how much he hurt me, how deeply he lied, how I had trusted him with the most sacred parts of myself, and how he threw it all away for nothing, for a lie he built with someone else. I burned that letter, watched the edges curl and turn to ash, and somehow I felt lighter. Then came the messages. More women who had been in similar situations reached out. Some had been cheated on. Some had been used. Some had been manipulated. We started a group chat. It was meant to be support. It became a sisterhood. We shared stories. We cried together. We celebrated each other's small wins. One woman finally blocked her toxic ex. Another went on her first solo vacation. Someone else signed up for therapy. We were healing together. Alex messaged me once more. I didn't reply. He wrote a long apology, said he was broken, said he didn't know why he did what he did, said he missed me. I deleted it. I didn't need his words anymore. I didn't need closure from him. I had given it to myself. I started reading more books about healing, memoirs from women who had risen from heartbreak. I saw pieces of myself in every page. I wasn't alone. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't weak. I started traveling. Just short trips, a weekend at the beach, a drive through the mountains. I took photos, I laughed. I danced by myself in hotel rooms. I began to remember who I was before him. Then one afternoon, I saw him in the grocery store. He looked different, tired. He saw me, froze. I didn't stop. I walked right past him. Not because I was rude, but because I owed him nothing. Not a nod, not a smile, not a word. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I didn't replay the moment. I went to bed and slept like a child, because I was free. I joined a local art class. Painting became my therapy. I spilled my pain into colors, bold reds, deep blues. I painted heartbreak. Then I painted hope. Then I painted joy. People noticed. They started asking if my pieces were for sale. I wasn't ready, but the thought that someone else saw beauty in my healing made me smile. I gave one painting to Sarah. It was of a storm turning into sunlight. I told her it reminded me of what she gave me. She cried and hugged me so tight I thought my ribs would crack. We all need someone like that. Months passed. The group chat turned into meets, dinners, hikes, coffee dates. We called ourselves the Phoenix Circle, because we had all burned, and we had all risen. One day, someone brought their new boyfriend to brunch. He was kind, gentle, asked questions. Listen, I watched them and thought, maybe love isn't dead. Maybe it just needs to be reborn the right way. Later that evening, I stood in front of my mirror. I didn't see the girl who tried on a ring for someone else's proposal. I saw a woman who survived, who thrived, who glowed, and I whispered, "You made it." Then I smiled, because I knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. I woke up one morning and felt at peace. No anxiety, no anger, no ache in my chest. Just calm. The sun peeked through the curtains. I stretched slowly, and I smiled. It had been over a year since that day in the jewelry store, since the lie unraveled, since my world tilted and nearly crashed. But Now my world had rebuilt itself, not quickly, not easily, but piece by piece. I got up and made coffee, black, strong, just the way I like it. My phone buzzed. It was a message from a publisher. They'd read my blog, watched my videos, and wanted to turn my story into a book. I stared at the screen. My hand shook a little. Me. A book? But then I remembered everything I had written. All those nights pouring my pain into words. All those messages from women who said, "Me too." All the parts of me that I had thought were broken, becoming powerful on paper. I said yes. Writing the book wasn't easy. I had to relive moments I wanted to forget. But every time I paused, I reminded myself, someone out there needs this. Someone is crying the way I cried. Someone is questioning their worth. Someone thinks they're alone, and they need to know they're not that. So I wrote, every night, every weekend. Even when it hurt. Even when I wanted to stop, I wrote about the first time I met him, the way he charmed me. The way I fell fast. The way I gave him all of me. I wrote about the ring shopping, the smile on my face, the lie behind his eyes. I wrote about the truth, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the rage, and I wrote about the healing, the strength I didn't know I had, the people who showed up for me, the woman I became. When the book launched, I wasn't prepared. Messages poured in, readers from all over the world, men and women, teenagers and grandmothers, all of them saying the same thing, thank you. They thanked me for being honest, for speaking what they couldn't say, for turning my pain into something beautiful. One message said, I kept wearing the ring he gave me even after he left. After your book, I took it off, and I took my power back. That one made me cry. I realized this wasn't just my story. It belonged to all of us. Everyone who had been lied to, used, betrayed. Everyone who had picked up their own pieces and kept going. And then something happened I didn't expect. I got invited to speak at an international summit. Women from everywhere, leaders, artists, survivors, all gathered to share truth. I stood on that stage, lights beaming, a crowd of thousands watching, and I told my story again. Not for sympathy, not for fame, but for freedom, because every time I told it, another woman told hers, and every time we speak, shame loses its grip. After the summit, I flew home and sat alone on my porch, the stars above me, a soft breeze on my skin, and I felt full. Not with regret, not with longing, but with peace. I thought of him. Just once, and not with pain. Not with hate. Just with a quiet, simple, thank you. Because without him, I never would have discovered this strength. I never would have written a book, stood on that stage, met all those brave women. He tried to break me, but all he did was wake me. And now, I was wide awake, living a life he could never even imagine. A life that was mine, fully, finally, forever.